Okay, very quick little dip in of the second half of Canto 4 of Orlando Furioso by Ludovico Aristo. So um, what's her name? Ba Baramante rescues Rodrigo and everybody else. At which point they decide that they're going to chase after the hippogriff for some reason, and they do. And the of course it's Rodrigo who actually catches the hippogriff, gets on him, and which immediately it's they how does Aristo describes it as like basically taking the hood off of a falcon and it just zooming super like all the way up in the sky until it's like it's a speck, and Rodrigo looking down can't even see the mountains and can't see can't see the land figures anymore. This being Atlante's next scheme of he's still determined to prevent Rodrigo from ending up as a in Europe as a Christian, because that will apparently kill him. And oh damn it, they make a reference. Adamante makes a reference to Ganymede. Is it Ganymede? Yeah. No, except I apparently do not have. I do not. Ganymede. Darn it. Except of course I don't have. There is a mythical. There is a mythical reference within the book to him being snatched up like Ganymede, which is it Ganymede? Okay, notes and highlights. Let's see if I can find it. There's also a thing where we of course we skip. I love how this thing just skips through all the stuff. There it is. Ganymede. Who? What does it say? It's a Trojan youth who was so beautiful that he was carried off by Zeus to be the cupbearer for the Olympic gods. So yeah, he's apparently a hot guy. So yeah, we have that. So yes, a Trojan youth so beautiful is carried off by Zeus, and that's how. So Baramonte definitely has the hots for him, and I kind of like that there's a kind of female kind of like there's a female gaze of like this is a beautiful guy, even though it's interesting that it's termed in the thing of a male on male thing or a male god to a male. I guess if it's carried off by Zeus to be the cupbearer for the Olympic gods. So that's interesting. But he zips off, at which point we go, and let's go see how Ronaldo's doing over in England. He goes over to England and he finds some Cenobites, I think it's a monks, who say, oh, well, there's this lady who's been accused of taking her lover to bed but not being married in Scotland, and they're very strict up there, and if you do that, you're condemned to death immediately. At which point there is just a hilarious thing where Ronaldo is very upset by this as a chivalric knight, and his what was it? It's like, a damsel is condemned to death because she gave her lover solace in her bed, who with desire for her tormented was. A curse upon the legislature's head, and cursed be all who tolerate such laws. Death rather to such damsels is refused, but not to her who loves and life renews. So it's like, no, if you should prosecute women who don't take people who are in love with them to bed, which is hilarious. It's funny. The bit that was there's this like, why should a woman by fate so dire be punished who has done what a men a score of times will do and never will be blamed? Nay, rather will be praised for it and famed. Yes, the pointing out the double standard, but I thought the earlier point of, well, women who don't take men who are in love with them to bed to ease their torment should be prosecuted. I thought was hilarious. So he's going off to do that, but in the midst of that, he comes upon another damsel who is, of course, very, very beautiful. menaced by two ruffians who, and she's apparently just crying as no woman ever cried before. And and uh, and she says, like, well, how did you come here? And I just love, love how this ends. Um, Yes, she is, how fair she is, how gracious and refined. Although much frightened by the danger she has just escaped, when some calm of mind she has regained, how did she come to be, he asks, in such a pass? And then, in low tone, she answers him, in a low tone, she answers him, as Canto 5 makes known. So we have that, like, you'll have to wait till next time, kids, again, which I love the rhythm of this poem. There's something about, like, oh God, it's the longest poem in European literature, and you think, oh God, I'm so used to these tightly woven, intricate little puzzle box of poems, and I can't imagine having to read something gigantically long. But no, this is like the rhyme and all that just kind of gallops you along. It's just such a fun, great read, and we're shifting from story to story. We're intercutting like this. It's like, it's almost like modern in that sense. It very much catches that kind of idea versus the unity of place of an Aristotle. It definitely reminds me of Don Quixote. I was thinking, I don't know if so much Torrent Lebanc, but Amadeus of Gaul, I think it had a lot of bouncing back and forth. I should look at the plot summaries of those two books and just sort of see how the story is told in those. Because it definitely, this chivalric thing of, like, oh, let's go from this story to this story to this story to this story, or nested stories within stories, seems like very much a thing that happens in this stuff, not just in Orlando Furioso. All right, I will leave it there with this so-called quick check-in. I've been Jay. More videos later.